Hello friends, today I want to tell you about the place and position of Poseidon in Greek mythology. Let's see who is this Greek god. Let's get started then. Poseidon has an important place in Greek mythology and is the Greek god who is the bringer of seas, rivers, storms, and earthquakes. He was perhaps the most destructive of all the ancient gods, but he was not always a negative force. He was a protector of sailors, and as a horse tamer, he was a supporter of that animal and horse breeding. To the Romans, he was known as Neptune. In the later Greek mythology, Poseidon is the son of Kronos and Rhea, the brother of Zeus and Hades. These three brothers are equal in power and have powers beyond all other gods. They are all wise and cunning leaders. These brothers dominated large areas more than others. Zeus ruled over the entire sky, Poseidon over the vast seas, and Hades over the entire underworld. All gods have their own fields, but some are unhappy with the fields they have. One god was unhappy more than the others. His name was Hades. One day, Hades was getting tired of running the underworld. He felt that he was not rewarded and punished like other gods. One day, the idea came to bring hell to earth. She felt she deserved to be the center of attention for once. So he went to Mount Olympus to present the idea of Hades to the other gods. For once, he felt that he deserved to be the center of the gods. So he went to Olympus to present the idea of Hades to the other gods. He told Zeus that he wanted to bring hell to earth. The gods have argued for this for days. Poseidon said during the discussion that he no longer wanted to rule the seas, but the heavens. Zeus said that you have magnificent and beautiful seas. He said that you should be satisfied with it. But the deconfliction between them did not end. Poseidon is depicted in a similar type to Zeus with a beard and ostentation. But although he is not as strong as Zeus, he is equal to him in respectability. He had a harsh and quarrelsome nature, like his brother. He did not hesitate to compete with Zeus, did not like to bow to his commands, and joined forces with other gods and tried to put the father of the gods in chains. He challenged Zeus as follows: "He is valiant for his valor. I know Zeus." He began to speak, saying, "But what am I equal to belittling me? Is he the one who will forcibly bow down to me with him?" Rhea gave birth to Zeus, me, Hades, who rules over the dead. The world was divided into three. All three of us got our share. Lots were drawn. The sparkling sea fell to me so that I would always sit there. The vast sky fell to Zeus decked with clouds. But everyone has a share in Olympos, which is big with land. So I don't live, Zeus said the last word at his pleasure. If he has the strength, let him sit comfortably on his share, in his country. Don't scare him with his hands. Don't put me in a decadent place. But unfortunately, nothing has changed. It remains as they divided it between themselves. Poseidon was the god of the seas, famous for his strength and power. One day, Amphitrite, the daughter of Doris and Nereus, was a sea nymph famous for her beauty. One day, Poseidon saw Amphitrite dancing in the sea and fell in love with her. Poseidon saw Amphitrite as a suitable wife for him and proposed to her. But Amphitrite, who was sad at that moment, was very fond of her freedom and loved the life she was leading, so she refused the marriage proposal. Poseidon became despondent and decided to stay alone for the rest of his life. But over time, Poseidon realized that he had not lost even a little of his love for Amphitrite. Although the other sea gods and creatures tried to console him, he only wanted Amphitrite. Finally, Pythia, a soothsayer from Delphia, said that she would help convince Amphitrite. When Poseidon received this news, he set out on a journey across the sea to find Amphitrite. Poseidon, who soon found Amphitrite, proposed again, and Amphitrite accepted the marriage proposal this time. They had a son named Triton from their marriage. I would like to tell you one of the famous questions that have been asked about Poseidon. What is the famous three-pronged spear used for what purpose? The trident has been known throughout history as a weapon used in various mythologies and cultures, and is generally known to belong to gods and goddesses who have power over the seas and water. One of the most well-known examples of this is the ancient Greek sea god Poseidon, who is often depicted holding a trident. According to Greek mythology, Poseidon received the trident as a gift from Cyclops, who was said to be skilled blacksmiths. Trident. Poseidon is given power over the seas and the ability to create earthquakes. In some myths, Poseidon could create water sources by striking his trident on the ground. In Roman mythology, the three-pronged spear was also associated with the sea god Neptune. Like Poseidon, Neptune often wielded a three-pronged spear and was believed to have power over the oceans and sea creatures. Neptune has also been associated with horses and is sometimes depicted driving a chariot pulled by seahorses. In Hindu mythology, the three-pronged spear is known as Trishula and is associated with the god Shiva. Trishula is a three-pronged spear that represents the three aspects of existence. Shiva has the characteristics of earthquakes and destruction. He is usually depicted holding Trishula together with a damaru. This damaru is also a small drum associated with him. Beyond these well-known examples, The three-pronged spear has also been used in other mythologies and cultures. For example, in some Native American cultures, the three-pronged spear was also used as a fishing tool. It was also used as a symbol in various religions, including Christianity, where it was sometimes associated with the Holy Trinity. In terms of symbolism, the three-pronged spear is often associated with strength, and balance. Its three-pronged design can represent various triads, such as past, present, and future, or mind, body, and soul. The three-pronged spear can also be seen as a symbol of the forces of nature and the mysteries of the sea, as well as the power and influence of the gods who wield it. And finally, in general, the three-pronged spear is described as a fascinating and powerful symbol that has been used in mythology and cultures for centuries. Its various connotations and meanings reflect the diversity of human cultures and beliefs and an enduring fascination with the mysteries of the natural world. We can also decipher it as a struggle or war between Poseidon and his brothers and the Titans. The Titanomachy was the great battle in Greek mythology that took place between the Titans, the decrepit generation of Greek gods, and the Olympian gods led by Zeus. The war lasted a total of 10 years and culminated in the defeat of the old pantheon based on Mount Othrys and the establishment of a new one based on Mount Olympus. And if it is necessary to elaborate about Uranus, the ruler of the universe, as follows. When the Titans were in power, Uranus was the ruler of the universe. However, his wife Gaia has caused his anger by imprisoning some of his children, the Cyclopes and the Hecatonkers, deep into the earth, in Tartarus. Gaia decided to take revenge and created a giant sickle, and then told her children to castrate them in order to overthrow their father. Only Kronos agreed, and after conspiring with his mother, he managed to outwit his father and castrate him. 3 groups of children were born from the blood of Uranus that fell on the earth, Gigantes, Erinyes, and Meliae, and from the blood that fell into the sea, the goddess Aphrodite was born, and Kronos takes the throne. Cronus took the throne from his father, but before Uranus made a prophecy that his son would also be overthrown by his own sons, the fear of losing the reign formed in him. Cronus turned into the same tyrant god as his father sent his brothers back to Tartarus and had to eat his own children to prevent the prophecy from coming true. But his wife Rhea deceived him and saved the youngest child Zeus from his father's paranoia, hiding Zeus in a cave in Crete, where he was raised by a goat named Amalthea. When Zeus grew up, he became his father's Saki without revealing his true identity. Later, with the help of the Titan goddess Metis, Zeus's first wife, Cronusa gave her a mixture of wine and mustard and caused her to vomit up the children she swallowed one by one. When all his brothers and sisters were released, Zeus gathered them together and convinced them to decide to start a rebellion against their father. Thus began the struggle of the Titanomachy. Zeus released the Hecatonkers and Cyclopes from Tartarus and asked for help against his brothers. They all accepted this request without turning down, while the Hecatonkers began throwing stones at the Titans, and the Cyclopes created the famous thunderbolts for their leader Zeus. Themis and Prometheus were the only Titans who fought on the side of Zeus. The war ended with the victory of the Olympians. All the Titans except Themis and Prometheus were imprisoned in Tartarus and protected by the Hecatonkers. Zeus divided the universe by drawing lots together with his brothers Poseidon and Hades. Zeus won and became the king of the sky, and also became the ruler of mortals and gods. Poseidon became the ruler of the seas, and Hades, who drew the shortest lot, became the ruler of the underworld. This is the beginning of a new era in Greek mythology, and that's how this war ended. But the struggles are not over for Poseidon, and then there is his struggle with Athena. Let me tell you about that struggle. There is one of them that both touched on the struggle of the 2 great Olympian gods, after which it was instrumental in the emergence of the horse and the olive tree, and finally ended with the naming of a city. Of course, we are talking about the struggle of Athena and Poseidon. Cecrops, known as the first king of Attica, one of the most important cities of ancient times, begins to call the city he ruled by his own name. The city is called by the name of Cecropia, but this beautiful, fertile city is Olympos. They do not escape the attention of their gods and want such a beautiful city to be named after them. Of course, he will also become the patron god of the city. Many gods and goddesses from Olympus have been suitors for this job. However, there are 2 people among them who are more enthusiastic and eager than the others. December Poseidon, the god of the seas and the earthquake on the one hand, the brother of Zeus and one of the 3 great gods of Olympus, on the other hand, was born from the head of Zeus, the daughter of Zeus and Metis, the goddess of reason, wisdom, art, Athena. When 2 great powerful gods and goddesses aspire to this city, of course, it must be very easy to decide. So they go to Zeus. Zeus also decides to organize a competition. He said that whoever does more useful things for the city will be his from now on. Of course, a choice has been made for the people of the city to decide which gift is better. First, Poseidon goes up to the rock from a high place to give his gift. When he hits his three-pronged pitchfork, called trident, against the rock, the ground shakes, splits, and water comes out. He thinks that he has solved the city's water needs forever. But this water is the salty waters of the sea. Of course, according to different sources and narratives, when Poseidon hits the ground with his staff, the ground splits and they say that the horse appeared. It is mentioned as a living being that will provide unique benefits to people in transportation, agriculture, warfare, and even later one of the symbols of Poseidon was known as a horse. Maybe this horse is a Trojan whore when it's Athena's turn. Athena hits the ground with her wand. The earth splits open and brings forth an olive tree. It may not make a magnificent show like Poseidon, but it reveals an olive tree that can meet people's food needs and meet them in a healthy way. Of course, according to some, the Olympian gods. According to others, they choose Athena, who gave the olive to people as a result of the choice of the inhabitants of the city. They believe that the products that can be obtained from the olive tree will be more beneficial to humanity and make the choice. Poseidon, dissatisfied and angry with the result of this election, sends a huge flood over the city and causes great damage. But no matter what, the winner of the great race was Athena, the goddess of reason and wisdom. From this moment on, the city began to be called by the name of Athena. Athens, which is the capital of Greece, is Athens. I will tell you about the Poseidon and Medusa relationship that Merkala is waiting for. It is an interesting as well as a tragic event. Greek mythology is full of stories in which gods and mortals intertwine, and awe-inspiring and sometimes leading to a deep tragedy. For example, the story of Poseidon and Medusa, one of them, is known as the story of such a tragedy. It is a complex narrative woven with themes of love, ambition, and revenge. We are starting. Medusa was one of the Gorgon brothers and is the only Gorgon who was originally mortal, but the most important feature that distinguishes her from her other brothers is extraordinary Guzeli deer. With her golden blonde hair and elegant face, she has a beauty that attracts the attention of even the gods. In legends, it is stated that this beauty of the Medusa brought him both admiration and tragedy. Medusa was a priestess dedicated to Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war. He had taken an oath of loyalty to Athena and devoted himself to a holy life to serve in her temple. However, this situation made his fate even more tragic. The turning point of the story begins with Poseidon's interest in Medusa. The beauty of the Medusa enchants Poseidon and fuels his desire to possess her. However, this interest of Poseidon also reveals his arrogant and thoughtless side. Medusa, on the other hand, lives in the temple of Athena as a holy priestess and has sworn allegiance to Athena. However, despite this oath, Poseidon follows Medusa to Athena's temple and forcibly possesses her there. While in some narratives this is seen as an expression of Poseidon's love for Medusa, most versions clearly describe this event as an attack. Athena gets very angry at this situation, and Athena's reaction after this incident is the most controversial part of the story. Athena sees what Poseidon did to Medusa, but projects her anger on Medusa instead of Poseidon. This brings with it a great questioning about the justice and moral values of the goddess. Athena, who blames Medusa, punishes her with a terrible curse. Athena turns Medusa's beautiful hair into a snake and turns her into a monster. Now the Medusa's gaze turns those who look at her into stone, no matter who they are. This curse has changed the Medusa's life forever. Although she is a victim, she has been accused and condemned to loneliness. The role of Poseidon is as follows. Poseidon's role in this story often reflects his irresponsible and selfish nature. His desire for the Medusa has ruined his life. However, Poseidon is never directly affected by the consequences of this event. Power and status in the world of the gods often prevent them from paying the price for their actions. Poseidon remains both an actor and a spectator in this story. And finally, I would like to tell you about this story as follows. The story of Medusa finally ends with Perseus cutting off her head. However, this death not only completes the tragedy of the Medusa, but also shapes her legacy. Two beings named Pegasus and Chrysaor are born from the blood of Medusa. This shows that in addition to being a victim, she also carries a creative power. And we have learned about the place and life of Poseidon in Greek mythology. Thank you for watching and listening so far. Don't forget to like and comment on our video. With regards and love.